The beginning of the end, and the end of my beginning. I'm 100 years old today. A century of breathing, walking, existing on this earth. People keep asking me what it feels like to reach such a milestone. They want to hear about wisdom, about perspective, about the grand accumulation of knowledge that comes with living an entire century. But here's what nobody wants to hear. I wasted 71 years of my life. 71 years of chasing shadows. 71 years of missing what mattered. 71 years of being blind to the treasure I held in my hands every single day. My wife, Eleanor, passed away when I was 71. We had been married for 48 years, nearly half a century together, and I thought I knew everything about love, about partnership, about what it meant to share a life with someone. I was wrong about everything. As Eleanor lay in that hospital bed, her body finally giving up after fighting cancer for 2 brutal years, she reached for my hand. Her grip was weak. Barely a whisper of the strength she once had. Her eyes, once bright as summer mornings, were dimmed by pain and medication. But in that moment, they were clear. Perfectly, painfully clear. "Robert," she whispered, and I had to lean in close to hear her. "I need to tell you something before I go." I squeezed her hand gently, tears already streaming down my face. "Anything, my love. Anything at all." What she said next shattered my entire existence. "I was so lonely." 3 words, 3 simple words that destroyed the narrative I'd built about my life, my marriage, my success as a husband and father. "What?" I managed to choke out. She smiled. That same gentle smile I'd seen 10,000 times but never truly understood. "I was lonely, Robert. For most of our marriage, I was lonely. You were always there, but you were never really there. You were in your head, in your work, in your plans, but you were never truly with me." I started to protest, to defend myself, to explain all the things I'd done, all the ways I'd provided, all the sacrifices I'd made. But she squeezed my hand with surprising force. "Listen to me, my darling. I'm not saying this to hurt you. I'm saying this because I love you, and because you still have time. Promise me something." "Anything," I sobbed. "Promise me you'll finally learn to be present. Promise me you'll stop running from the moment you're in. Promise me you'll give to others what I wish you'd given to me. Your full attention, your open heart, your actual presence. Don't let them waste their lives the way we wasted ours." She took 3 more breaths after that. On the 3rd exhale, she simply didn't inhale again. She was gone, and I was left with 29 years, so far, to figure out what she meant. The 10 lessons I learned too late, but you don't have to. Lesson 1. Presence is the only real gift you can give. For 40 years, I worked as an accountant. I was good at it, meticulous, thorough, dependable. I provided well for my family. We never wanted for anything material. But here's what I didn't understand until Eleanor died. My body was at the dinner table, but my mind was calculating tax returns. My body was on vacation with my family, but my mind was worrying about quarterly reports. My body was lying next to my wife every night for 48 years, but my mind was everywhere else. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought being responsible meant constantly planning, constantly worrying, constantly thinking ahead. I thought my worth as a husband and father was measured in the security I provided, not the attention I gave. After Eleanor passed, I started really watching people. I'm talking about truly observing how we interact with each other. And what I saw horrified me. Fathers at playgrounds, scrolling through phones while their children desperately tried to show them a new trick on the monkey bars. Couples at restaurants, both staring at screens, not speaking, not seeing each other. Adult children visiting elderly parents, but constantly checking their watches, already mentally somewhere else. We're all here, but we're not really here. I started a practice after Eleanor died. Whenever someone speaks to me, I stop everything else. I look at them. I mean really look at their eyes, their expression, their body language. I listen not just to their words, but to what's beneath the words. You know what happened? People started seeking me out. My grandchildren, who barely tolerated my presence before, started calling me regularly. Strangers at the senior center would sit next to me and open up about their deepest fears and dreams. My son, who I'd had a distant relationship with for decades, broke down crying one day and said, "Dad, I feel like I'm finally meeting you for the first time. All because I finally learned to be present. Here's what I want you to understand. Your attention is the most valuable thing you possess. Not your money, not your status, not your achievements. Your full, undivided attention is the greatest gift you can give another human being. When was the last time you had a conversation without thinking about what you were going to say next? When was the last time you sat with someone without checking your phone? When was the last time you were fully, completely present for another person? Eleanor was lonely because I was never really there. Don't make the people in your life lonely while you're standing right next to them. Lesson 2. The things you think matter don't matter at all. I spent 40 years climbing a ladder that was leaning against the wrong wall. I was obsessed with advancement at work. Every promotion, every raise, every recognition was proof that I was succeeding at life. I worked late nights and weekends. I missed countless family dinners, school plays, weekend trips, and quiet evenings at home, all in service of career advancement. By the time I was 60, I was a senior partner at my firm. I had the office with the view, the salary that made people's eyes widen, the respect of my colleagues. I thought I'd made it. But here's what I realized after Eleanor died. I couldn't remember the names of most of my colleagues from back then. I couldn't recall a single detailed conversation about anything that really mattered. I couldn't point to any work accomplishment and say it enriched my life in a meaningful way. But I could tell you about every family moment I missed. Every one of them was seared into my memory with perfect clarity, not because I was there, but because I wasn't. My daughter's first dance recital. I was in a client meeting. My son's championship baseball game. I was on a business trip. Eleanor's 40th birthday. I forgot it entirely because I was preparing a major presentation. Our 25th wedding anniversary. I scheduled it around a conference. I thought I was building something important. I thought I was securing our future. I thought my family would understand and appreciate my sacrifice. But you know what my kids remember? They remember their friends' dads showing up. They remember feeling like work was more important to me than they were. And they were right. It was. After Eleanor's death, I started asking myself a question that changed everything. Will this matter in 5 years? Most things won't. That argument about how to load the dishwasher won't matter. That slight from a colleague at work won't matter. That extra hour at the office instead of going home won't matter. But time with people you love, that matters. Being present for someone's moment of triumph or crisis, that matters. Building genuine connections with other human beings, that matters. I'm 100 years old. I don't remember the big accounts I managed. I don't think about the promotions I earned. I don't care about the recognition I received. But I remember, with aching clarity, every moment I should have been there and wasn't, And I remember, with profound gratitude, every moment in the last 29 years when I finally learned to be there. Stop climbing ladders that lead nowhere. Start investing in what actually matters. Lesson 3. Your pride is killing your relationships. I didn't apologize to my wife for the first 20 years of our marriage. Not once. Not sincerely, anyway. Oh, I'd say, I'm sorry, when it was expected, when it would smooth things over quickly, when it would end an argument. But I never truly apologized, with genuine remorse, with understanding of the hurt I'd caused, with a real commitment to change. Why? Pride, ego, the need to be right, the belief that admitting I was wrong somehow diminished me. What an absolute fool I was. The greatest gift Eleanor gave me in her final words was the truth. She could have lied, could have comforted me, could have left me with pleasant illusions about our marriage. Instead, she loved me enough to tell me the truth. I had failed her in fundamental ways. That truth destroyed my pride, and in destroying my pride, it saved me. After Eleanor died, I did something I'd never done in my life. I started apologizing, really apologizing. I called my daughter and apologized for missing her dance recitals, for not being emotionally available when she was growing up, for prioritizing work over her needs. I didn't make excuses. I didn't explain why I'd done what I'd done. I just apologized and told her she deserved better from me. She cried. I cried. It was one of the most important conversations of my life. I did the same with my son, and with old friends I'd hurt or neglected, and with colleagues I'd been harsh with, and with neighbors I'd been dismissive toward. You know what I learned? Apologizing doesn't make you smaller. It makes you bigger. It makes you more human. It makes you real. And here's the thing about pride. It keeps you trapped in a prison of your own making. It prevents growth. It destroys relationships. It isolates you from genuine connection with others. I see it everywhere now. I see couples locked in decades-long cold wars because neither will apologize first. I see parents and adult children estranged because someone needs to be right more than they need to be connected. I see friendships end over slights that could be healed with a simple, genuine apology. For what? For pride, for the illusion of being right, for the ego's desperate need to never appear weak. I spent 71 years being right, and I was lonely, disconnected, and unfulfilled. I've spent the last 29 years being honest, being humble, being willing to admit when I'm wrong. And these have been the richest, most connected, most meaningful years of my entire life. Kill your pride before it kills your relationships. I promise you, the temporary discomfort of apologizing is nothing compared to the permanent pain of losing the people you love. Lesson 4. Anger is a thief that steals your life. I was an angry man for most of my life. Not in an obvious way. I didn't yell or throw things or become violent. But I carried a low-grade anger with me everywhere, like a constant background radiation, poisoning everything I touched. I was angry at my boss for not recognizing my contributions, angry at other drivers on the road, angry at politicians, angry at the weather, angry at my body for aging, angry at my kids for not being who I thought they should be, angry at Eleanor for not understanding how hard I worked. I was just angry all the time, at everything. After Eleanor told me she'd been lonely, I spent a lot of time reflecting on our marriage, and I realized something that made me sick to my stomach. My anger had created a wall between us. She couldn't get close to me because there was always this barrier of resentment and irritation. I wasn't safe to be vulnerable with. I wasn't a soft place to land. I was hard, defended, always ready to be offended or disappointed. Over the past 29 years, I've learned something crucial about anger. It's almost always a secondary emotion. Underneath anger is usually fear, hurt, or shame. I wasn't angry at my boss. I was afraid I wasn't good enough. I wasn't angry at other drivers. I was stressed and anxious about being late. I wasn't angry at Eleanor. I was ashamed that I couldn't seem to connect with her the way she needed. But anger felt safer than those vulnerable emotions. Anger made me feel powerful instead of powerless. The problem is, anger destroys everything it touches. It destroyed my marriage. It damaged my relationship with my children. It robbed me of decades of peace and joy. After Eleanor died, I started a practice. Every time I felt anger rising, I would pause and ask myself, what am I really feeling underneath this? The results were shocking. Almost every time, the real emotion was fear or hurt or shame. And when I acknowledged that real emotion, the anger would deflate like a punctured balloon. I started being honest with people about what I was actually feeling. Instead of getting angry at my son for not calling more often, I told him I was hurt and felt forgotten. Instead of being irritated with a server at a restaurant, I acknowledged I was stressed about other things. Instead of resenting my aging body, I grieved the loss of my youth. You know what happened? My relationships transformed. People could finally get close to me. They could see me, really see me, because I wasn't hiding behind a wall of anger anymore. I see so many people, young people, old people, people of all ages, carrying around anger like a shield. They think it's protecting them, but it's actually imprisoning them. Let me tell you something I learned too late. Nobody owes you anything, not your spouse, not your children, not your employer, not the world. When you walk around expecting things and getting angry when you don't get them, you're giving away your peace. But when you let go of expectations, when you release resentment, when you acknowledge the vulnerable emotions underneath your anger, something miraculous happens. You become free. I wasted 71 years being angry. Don't make the same mistake. Life is too short to spend it fuming about things that don't matter and building walls between yourself and the people you love. Lesson 5. Forgiveness is for you, not them. My father was a difficult man, distant, critical, impossible to please. He never told me he loved me. He never hugged me. He never said he was proud of me. I carried resentment toward him my entire life. Even after he died when I was 45, I stayed angry. I told myself I had every right to be angry. He'd failed me as a father. He'd damaged me. He was the reason I struggled with intimacy and connection. After Eleanor died, and I started this journey of transformation, a therapist I was seeing asked me a simple question. Who is your resentment hurting? What do you mean? I asked. He hurt me. I'm angry at what he did. I understand, she said, but your father is dead. He's been dead for over 25 years. Your anger toward him isn't affecting him at all, but it's still affecting you. Every day, it's still shaping how you see yourself and how you interact with the world. So who is your resentment really hurting? That question broke something open in me. I'd been carrying resentment like a heavy stone for 70+ years. I thought I was punishing my father by refusing to forgive him. But he was long gone. The only person being punished was me. I started learning about forgiveness, real forgiveness, not the fake, forced kind. And I learned something that changed everything. Forgiveness isn't about saying what someone did was okay. It's not about reconciliation or letting someone back into your life. It's not even about them at all. Forgiveness is about releasing yourself from the prison of resentment. When I finally forgave my father, really, truly forgave him, something extraordinary happened. I felt lighter, freer. I could think about my childhood without the same sharp pain. I could see my father as a flawed, struggling human being rather than a monster. And here's the most important part. When I forgave my father, I could finally forgive myself. Because I'd been carrying guilt, too. Guilt about the kind of father I'd been. Guilt about how I'd treated Eleanor. Guilt about all my failures and shortcomings. But if I could extend grace to my father, who had hurt me deeply, couldn't I also extend grace to myself? Over the past 29 years, I've forgiven everyone who ever hurt me. The colleague who took credit for my work. The friend who betrayed my confidence. The doctor who misdiagnosed Eleanor's cancer the first time, giving it precious time to spread. Not because they deserved forgiveness, not because what they did was acceptable, but because I deserved freedom. And I've asked for forgiveness from everyone I hurt. Some people were gracious, some weren't ready, some had died, so I wrote letters I never sent and said the words anyway. Either way, I was free. Here's what I want you to understand. Every moment you spend resenting someone is a moment stolen from your life. Every ounce of energy you pour into unforgiveness is energy you can't use for love, for joy, for creation, for connection. You think you're punishing them by refusing to forgive, but you're only punishing yourself. Let it go. Not for them. For you. Because you deserve to be free. Lesson 6. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. For most of my life, I was harshly judgmental. I didn't think I was. I thought I was just discerning or having standards. But the truth is, I judged everyone around me constantly. The coworker who was always late, lazy and irresponsible. The neighbor who let their yard get overgrown. Didn't take pride in their home. The parent whose kid was throwing a tantrum in the grocery store. Bad parent. No discipline. I had an opinion about everyone and everything, and I was certain my opinions were correct. After Eleanor died, I became a regular at a local diner. I'd go there every morning for breakfast, sit at the counter, watch people. There was a waitress there, Mary, who was often distracted, sometimes got orders wrong, occasionally seemed irritable. My old self would have judged her as incompetent or rude, but I'd been learning to be curious instead of judgmental. So one morning I asked her how she was doing, really asked, with genuine interest. She hesitated, then broke down crying right there behind the counter. Her son had leukemia. She was working double shifts to pay for his treatment. She hadn't slept more than 4 hours a night in months. She was terrified she was going to lose her child. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Here I was, ready to judge this woman for forgetting to refill my coffee, and she was living through every parent's worst nightmare. That moment changed how I saw everyone. Thank you guys, everything. See you next video.